Hey, I'm Sasa. This is SasaKnows, and I am excited to talk to you today about spiritual awakening and gifts coming into the planet right now through who? All of you. So stay tuned. We're going to talk at length about this wonderful topic in a moment. Well, hello. Today we're going to talk about your spiritual gifts and what it looks like if you step into them fully. Now, I know that people struggle a lot with knowing and feeling and sensing into their gifts. It is a common misconception that people either have them or don't. Actually, everybody has spiritual gifts. And I'm talking about things like sensory awareness. It's funny, your guides, whoever's watching, there's someone, your guides are suggesting that your gifts are much greater than you think. There's probably many someones out there actually hearing this right now. So your sensory awareness is big, your clairvoyance, your sense of travel awareness. Like, do I worry about traffic on I-5 today or not? Should I take a back road? I mean, seriously, these are the little ways that spiritual gifts actually demonstrate themselves on a day-to-day basis. And you can wonder at it all you want, but at the end of the day, what you have to do is take time to cultivate those abilities because they are meant to be utilized. We are actually people of higher awareness in every way. None of us were born without spiritual gifts. Every one of us had some knowing when we came into this field of inquiry called planet Earth that our gifts were going to expand in some way. And I know that most people don't think of themselves as highly gifted spiritually, empathically, intuitively. I guess what I'm really talking about is intuitive gifts, right? So we are stepping into a field of inquiry on the planet around spiritual awakening. And everyone here is meant to release the notion that the gift isn't there, because it is. And everyone has different areas of strength in terms of spiritual and intuitive gifts. And while one person may be have a strong physical sensory awareness, another person may have a more mental experience with their spiritual awakening. And I'm talking about awakening here because it's very relevant to the conversation. Awakening is when those gifts start to flower, when they start to become what they were designed to be when you were born. I mean, seriously, you had this in your design when you were born. Now, why did we go to sleep? Why did that happen? Why did we stop feeling as connected to those gifts as we know we should be, right? Well, the story goes the planet got kind of stuck in an old dynamic. We got stuck in a relational field around, I'm getting nerdy on you, a relational field around the planet that misery loves company, really. Misery was the agenda. Discovering what misery felt like was the journey so that we could perhaps discover the light. Now, that is a concept that we had as souls at one point in our journey as souls on the planet. And the awakening now is about moving on from that mock-up and into a new archetypal force field that says, hey, everyone, you get to be fully awake. And that is an interesting time for us. We're going to watch people around us starting to notice things they never noticed before, magical experiences becoming more commonplace, and the knowing that people are traveling at our side. We're not all alone on this quest for awakening. We are here to journey into the fifth dimension, the ninth dimension, the 12th dimension together. And the real story behind when we are allowed to have those gifts, because, right, you wake up, you're on Earth, and you start out as this very sensitive being. I mean, a child is highly intuitive in most cases, born with high intuition. And what happens is the relational field of the planet disturbs their energy and says, no, you should be more kind of meet out the experience of your intuitive ability, because being too on, too for lack of a better word, powerful in the world makes us all intimidated. We don't love it when people walk around having psychic abilities all the time. We go to places about that are like, are you reading my mind? Are you stepping into my field? Are you poking around where you don't belong? Do you know more than me? Are you allowed to know more than me? Am I okay with someone being more aware of something than I am? We have all kinds of struggles around the consciousness piece of awakened awareness, okay? So that's what I want to call it, is awakened awareness. This intuitive knowing that we have, that we are meant to feel the feels, walk the world with wisdom, and be truly connected to our highest vibrational reality of us. And that is a kind of thing that I like to call Sawanda. Sawanda is a word that was given to me by my guides. And Sawanda is when we know who we are very deeply. So here's what happens when Sawanda comes into the picture. It is knowing yourself it's such a capacity, it's such a frequency, it's such a highest vibrational stance that you are unable to be messed with. You are so in your center that you don't notice that things are out of whack out here, right? So yes, they are. You will, okay, let's put it a different way. You're going to notice when things are really out of whack. You're not going to get thrown off by them. That's really actually the more accurate way to put that. So noticing is key to changing the planet. Noticing is how we demonstrate our wisdom in the world in some ways, because we are noticing what feels out of character with a person, out of character with ourselves, out of character with the nature of things, and what wants to be, what is actually becoming on the planet, which is love-based reality, love-based technology. And I'm talking about spiritual technology. Your gifts are a form of spiritual technology. We are getting up-leveled all the time. And the up-leveling is a design from Goddess to make sure that we find our way into our true nature. And that is the whole goal of being here. It isn't to surrender. It's interesting that the word Sawanda seems to have the word surrender implied in it. And in my ear anyways, and I'm always breaking words apart for the sound of things and wondering what was intended underneath that word by spirit. So the surrender is really to you. There is no other surrender that is needed. Surrendering to yourself, your ultimate self. So Sawanda is knowing yourself so deeply that you absolutely can surrender to what you really know, which is the truth of nature, the truth of yourself, the truth of the beingness of others, which is a beautiful thing when you can really connect in with the spiritual side of another person, where you can understand that they are whole, happy, and complete in some form. Now, I'm not suggesting that everyone feels whole, happy, and complete, but your highest vibrational reality does hold that for you. So what does this have to do with spiritual gifts? Well, when you find Sawanda, you get into this place where you are really awake and aware of what wants to be on the planet. And you become a beacon of light for that. And the gift that you have allows that to become more real on the planet. Your psychic gift, your clairvoyance, your clairsentience, your clairempathy, your clairtemporality. You know, I like to use that word for people who are sensitive to the Mandela effect, timeline shifts and things of that nature, quantum shifts. Clairquantality would probably be another word. I don't know. I'll come up with a word for that one too. Because quantum shifts happen all the time around us constantly. We just don't recognize them. But you could have a clair for noticing that someone just updated their whole spectrum of self in a moment without actually, and the classification for an upgrade is whatever wants to be real. I mean, really, whatever is most desiring to be real in you and the world around you is a quantum upgrade. And when we step into our gifts, we are in alignment with the field of potentiality on the planet, which allows us to go into quantum relational field with the world, which makes us more potent creators, and understand that you have that ability just by walking the world. There's no class for that except for understanding who you are. That is the ultimate class for becoming your truest nature, is to understand more of who you really are. Your desires are so important, and your potent wishes are so important that we have to expect them to be real. I mean, we can't walk this planet with people going out of body and wondering all the time, who am I going to be? When is it going to show up? When do I get to be myself? We can't wait for it. We have to go after it. And that is, and not an exception to the rule, that is the becoming that we are knowing in this human state that we live in, this human place that we inhabit here on earth. Now, what is the journey for a soul into spiritual awakening? Because that is a key element to opening up your gift. At a certain level, it will require an awakening. What is the deal with that? So what awakens within us as we come into our gift is to see the light in the world more readily. We start to see the light in ourselves. We see the light in others. We see the light in nature. We see the light in media. I mean, really, not to say all media, because media gets a bad rap, but there's a lot of beautiful storytelling out there. There's a lot of beautiful music and art forms that we are associate with media that are actually potent for reality change. And when a great TV show comes out that's inherently love-based in some way, where the soul is really honored, then it wakes up the populace through its influence. And, that goes with, like, we're seeing so many shifts in dialogue in media, in television and movies around a host of things that we needed to change on the planet to include more diversity, to include more love, understanding that love is paramount in all things. It is actually a thing that we do communicate through our storytelling. So let's not just give media a bad rap across the board. There's a lot of beauty out there. Now, what does that have to do with your gifts? Well, understanding the light and stuff in the world is actually a key element. This is where gratitude is huge. And we don't want to just go kind of cherry coat the world and say, I got to be grateful for this, this, and this. Some things are hard in the world. We are not going to deny that. And gratitude is key. Loving what is and finding where the love is a big piece of growing your gift, weirdly enough. This is all, by the way, I am receiving all of this through a channel with Spirit. And I specifically channel Gaia most of the time. So Gaia is my primary channel. So if you wonder where the word Swanda came from, it is probably from Gaia in the first place. So, and I get a lot of my lingo from Spirit. I don't make up most of the words that come to me. So when we receive the love in reality, when we notice, this is why, we're talking about love is the core thing. I'm not giving you a lot of like how-tos here. It's actually the ultimate direction to go in order to develop and cultivate your clairvoyance, for instance, is recognizing love. Recognizing love is huge. And when we can see love in nature, specifically nature is the best, right? Because what is there not to love about beauty of nature? We can remember our wholeness there. We remember that Earth is whole in a natural environment. We can see the wholeness of nature, the beauty and transcendence and co-creativity of the world is represented well in nature. And inside of our lives as well, and the people around us, there's so much beauty to be witnessed and acknowledged around us as well. And opening the door to love to come into the field will bring the gift in. Why? Well, love guides the gift in the truest sense. Love is the reason the gift exists. And when we find love in the world, we find love in nature and in humans and in the beauty that we perceive in all manner of things around us, including our gardens, our art practice, or our creative Your guides are funny. Somebody's guides are funny. Your creative undressing of the world. I love that. It's so funny when I do these. Sometimes people poke in and want to contribute to the conversation. So you never know, it might be you. You might even go, I was just thinking that, or something like that. It's kind of funny. Not that I'm reading your mind. Mind you, your guides are communicating to me. It's a co-creative endeavor. Let's put it that way. So here's the my guides are funny. They have this habit of saying there's a joke in the field. So they're saying, here's the joke in the field. And the joke is really like something that is out of character with our true nature that the world is demonstrating to before our eyes, right? We see it and we witness it and we go, why is that even existing? The joke in the field. Okay, so it's kind of a mean joke, right? Usually. And the joke in the field is that you were not born to have the gift. You weren't automatically born to have the gift. So here's what I want to reflect to. Yes, you were. You are meant to have the gift. You have always deeply intuited your knowing of this gift your whole life, whether you are perfectly aware of it or conscious of it or awake to it. You are here to heal the planet by being present. It's not a job. It is a thing that we all bring in naturally. So let's get away from the idea that you have to do some surrender to some kind of big labor in order to have your gift. It's not true. And that is something that TV does actually make us think that, and all kinds of teachers, like Joseph Campbell, talks tremendously well about the hero's heroine's journey. And we relate to the idea that when someone is activated or called, they have a great challenge. They have to go through hell, really, to find the other side of their gift. They deny it, and then they eventually acquiesce to it, and it takes a big journey to do that. Well, maybe you don't need a big journey. Maybe it is just a matter of acknowledging the love inside the world and inside of you and just stepping fully into what wants to be, which is your clairsentience. Clairsentience is like the most common clair. And I love talking about clairs, and clairs are basically stuff like these gifts showing up in your life. And so these different clairs will present themselves to different people as they are ready and as it's available to them. So spirit is guiding the process, saying, hey, I'm going to activate that for you now. You might start hearing an angel talk sometimes, every once in a while, when you're eating Cheetos. I don't know. They may do it when you're driving, when your mind can wander, or in a shower, or when you first wake up or fall asleep. That is a common thing where people will have visions only when they're falling asleep. And it's funny because we just think, oh, my mind is moving into a sleep state. And so we think that isn't a clair, but it is. It's interesting because I think about that for myself. I used to have visions of jewelry and music come to me just as I was falling asleep. Jewelry that I could never make, but I would have these great images of how the jewelry would look. And I didn't really notice that was a psychic gift until I was taught that it was. So, these potent abilities are natural to us. So you notice certain things more readily when you tuned into the idea that you are invited into this by spirit. And you are. And it is meant for you too. And you will find it one day at a time. How do you do it? You listen well. You notice what's around you. You listen to yourself. Acknowledge that it's real. So don't go into, this was my imagination. I don't know if this is real. We all do that in the beginning. And we're afraid to talk about it sometimes. We don't want to look like we're floaty or weird or out of character with ourselves in some way that people won't recognize us anymore. There's all kinds of stuff that could come up. And my kind of catch-all phrase for that is people will think you're cuckoo bananas. Okay. Now you notice that it is real. You notice that it is actually happening. You are having a real experience. Find people to talk to that are having that experience. Okay. Recognize together that this is a phenomenon that wants to be manifested fully in form here on earth. And you are a part of that awakening for the collective by showing up for yourself and recognizing that love is what you are here to be. And that is it. So I love the conversation we've had today is absolutely perfectly timed for me because I have been opening up some new abilities of late. In fact, I have found that my psychic abilities are off the chart right now. I'm not sure what portal I went through. I do feel like I have been through some lately. And I witnessed myself sharing information in session one day that was so like spot on. It comes down to like what coffee someone should get to have the optimal morning. It's really wild, the stuff that my guides bring in, and the guides of the people I work with usually as well. So here's the thing I want to say: you are magic, okay, and you have the same capacity as any gifted healer or teacher you see in the world. So I want you to go walk up to the mirror and look at yourself and say, I can do this. Okay. Just because Sasa seems to have whatever she has that is so wild and my guides are saying amazing, and that is amazing and off the charts strange sometimes. It doesn't mean you have to have it as strange as me. And it doesn't mean that you have to have it all if you don't need it or desire it. It may mean that you just get one or two clairs opening up and flowering more. And you start to see that you are capable and awake to the possibility that you have this as well. Okay? So don't deny it if it wants to come in, and don't push it if it's not ready. Let's just say it'll come as it's meant to, and your guides will make sure that it is perfectly divinely timed in the right order and the right sequence for you to feel comfortable, happy, and aligned with it. Okay? All right, my friends. Love sharing this time with you. And I would love to have the opportunity to connect with you sometime. So please do go to my website, sasa.art, sasa.art, and check out what is there. I offer many amazing experiences for people that are amazing. And I am excited to bring to the table my gifts so that you can open your gifts. So I hope you will join me there. And if you have any questions, do reach out. I am always ready to talk about magic in the world, and I would love to hear what comes through for you. Have a beautiful day.